Hello everyone, magandang umaga, and welcome to EPDC and AMCen's Electronic Kapihan. I am your host for today, Keith Joseph Dizon, and before we begin, may I request everyone here to please stand for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and an opening prayer.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, kaya sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo pagaw, ay ginatang tula, tawid sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinip, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitinig, lumalang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning to all. I'm Vic Ruet, the Operations Manager of EPDC. Welcome to our friends in industry, academia, and government. 25 years ago, we had our first Yapi Kapihan a networking event for members and friends in the electronics industry. Today, we have a slightly different Kapihan. Instead of introducing to you our partner member companies, we are introducing our partner in DOST, the Advanced Manufacturing Center, or AMCen. We will hear more about them later. First off, we thank our friends who set up this event, Jimmy Tanara, Apple Pangusan, and Keith Diaz from our Sales and Marketing Group. In a few minutes, we will be hearing from our DOST Undersecretary for R&D, Dr. Rowena Cristina Guevara. She helped set up EPDC several years ago, and the industry can't thank you enough, Yusek Geb and your group in DOST. You will hear from John Gomtang. He designs and integrates electronic product prototypes, computer hardware and software or firmware, the heart and brain of the products. Joseph Garcia, his group designs the R&D mechanicals, pumps, compressors, the skin and bones, all products have them. And Julius Solomon, he tests the equipment for EMC and product safety certification so that you can push your products to the market. Our two special guests are Jude Sassing and June Petisanan, our friends from the industry. They think of products for customers, and these products are what we test in our laboratory. Then we have Fred Liza, the head of AMCen, Chief of Materials and Process Research Division, MIRDC. Plus, where can we go from here? Ms. Gail Santos from Ayala will give a few hints. So in today's Kapihan, we are focusing on different skills, resources, and facilities that are available through the partnership of AMCen and EPDC EAPI. Together, we can contribute in helping you achieve your design and product goals. So good morning again, and welcome to all of you to our Kapihan here at Bikutan, Taguig. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Vic, for those opening remarks. And with us today, for a message of inspiration, she served as the first woman dean of the UP College of Engineering and has been the recipient of several awards in engineering and education. She holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering from UP Diliman and a PhD from the University of Michigan in the city of Ann Arbor. She specializes in speech and audio signal processing, time frequency analysis, and synthesis. Let's all welcome DOST Undersecretary for Research and Development, Dr. Rowena Cristina L. Guevara.
DOST Metals Industry Research and Development Center Executive Director, Engineer Robert Deason, Engineer Fred Lisa, Engineer Vic Gruet, Engineer Arcelia Fetizana of FANG, Engineer Jude Sassing of Orthopedics International Incorporated, partners in government, academe, industry, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po at magandang angham sa ating lahat. It is truly a pleasure to have our beloved micro, small, and medium enterprises in virtual activities such as this online Kapihan, spearheaded by the Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, and the Advanced Manufacturing Center, or AMCen. An article from the Philippine News Agency in May 2021 said that despite the pandemic, the electronics industry continues to support the country's economy. When it comes to national recovery and digital transformation, the electronics industry plays a crucial role. The same write-up also shared some interesting statistics. First, the electronics industry grew by 8.9% in the first quarter of this year. Second, export revenues amounted to US $10.72 billion. Third, 61% of the country's total exports are from the electronics sector. And fourth, the overall export growth of the country from January to March 2021, which is at 31.6%, is supported by the electronics sector. Not only does electronics industry cushion us from the grave effects of the pandemic, but is also the key drivers of the further growth of our economy. With the continuing pandemic, we need to focus our attention on industries such as the electronics industry, which continues to provide hope to the economy. Such is the aim of this Online Kapihan. We want to share with our guests the facilities that we have at the Department of Science Technology intended to serve the needs of businesses in the electronics industry. We have the Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, established by the DOST Advanced Science Technology Institute, or DOST-STII. We also have the Advanced Manufacturing Center, or AMCen, a facility established by the DOST Metals Industry Research and Development Center, or DOST-MIRDC, in partnership with the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute, or DOST-ITDI. Our country is brimming with globally competitive electronics companies. Some have been here for many years now. These have stood the test of time. We can say that they are built with a solid foundation that allows them to adapt to the dynamic business landscapes and rapid technology changes. The DOST offers several programs to encourage the industry to partner with us so that together we can unleash the full potential of businesses and the Filipinos in general. But one may ask, how about the budding entrepreneurs who may be thinking of starting a business at this point? Perhaps we can agree on one thing. We can all agree on when embarking on grand passions such as starting your own company in such a highly technical industry as the electronics industry. But you know what they say? The hardest step is always the first step. Somebody who's considering setting up a startup company may think, how can I even compete in this industry? I can only imagine the number of ideas that die with this thought. Bright ideas, aha moments that inspire the development of a product or even the birth of a company. These might seem insignificant to some of us, but this situation where we lose our startups even before they are born, or a product concept is rejected even before it becomes something tangible, is what we want to change. Those sparks with the right tools, resources, and guidance, those sparks turn into embers, and the embers set ablaze a fire of Filipino innovation. Ika nga, Filipinovation. Through the facilities such as EPDC and AMCen, providing their services to the general public, we can encourage science, technology, and innovation-driven culture among individuals and companies. The DOST stands for Scientific and Technological Efforts being geared towards maximum economic and social benefits for the people. This is our mission, and we intend to remain faithful to the pursuit of this mission. This pandemic may have hindered the progress of the electronics industry, but has never stopped it, as the statistics have proven. Through the services of the EPDC and the AMCen, we are going to support the electronics industry and the promising entrepreneurs who will soon join the industry. With EPDC and AMCen serving the electronics industry, we are guaranteed a step in the right direction, all towards the fulfillment of our mission to serve the Filipino people. Maraming salamat po at muli, magandang agham sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Dr. Guevara. Indeed, we have yet to fully see the potential of Filipino innovation. And soon, EPDC and AMCen would hopefully be the foothold to support these individuals. In this Kapihan, we would like to talk about EPD and AMCen's ability to develop competent electronic products. Speakers with me today. To my right is the head of EPDC's Electronics Product Prototyping Department, Engineer John Ryan Gumtang. Hello, sir. Wait lang. Following Engineer Ryan is the head of EPDC's EMC and Test Engineering Department, Engineer Julius T. Solomon. Hello, sir. Morning. Further ahead, we have DOST-MIRDC's Senior Science Research Specialist, Engineer Joseph Alfred V. Garcia. Hello, sir. And last but not least, we have the Chief of DOST-MIRDC Materials and Process Research Division and the Program Leader of AMCen, Engineer Fred P. Liza. Good morning, sir. And to begin, let's again welcome Engineer Ryan Gumtang with a presentation on EPDC service overview and updates. Hello, sir.
Accelerating innovation, pushing industry competitiveness, and elevating higher value-added activities and technologies are the driving forces behind the Electronics Product Development Center. The Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, is a core component in the Electronic Products Inclusive Innovation Center, or the EPIIC, which is an initiative intended to create opportunities and inclusivity through job creation and enterprise development. The facility was meant to upgrade the electronics value chain in the Philippines and envisioned to push the country from just being an assembler to becoming a designer, manufacturer, and marketer of our own electronic products. Product design and prototyping is usually outsourced to other countries due to the lack of local facilities. With the establishment of EPDC, products can now be locally designed. It would then be faster to produce and create prototypes of electronic products, such as PCBs, resulting to a faster turnaround in production. The facility also fosters building local capability in design and prototyping through trainings and mentorship activities. True to its words of uplifting the value chain of the electronics industry in the country, the EPDC proudly offers you new testing services: product safety testing and immunity testing. With these new testing services, the EPDC aims to continue to strengthen the local electronics and semiconductor industry and put it in the global value chain map. In addition to this, the EPDC also prides itself of finally acquiring the ISO accreditation to the EMC testing service. With the ISO accreditation, EPDC is now recognized as a globally competent testing laboratory that is technically proficient and able to produce precise and accurate test and calibration data. A vast portion of the electronics industry sector will greatly benefit from these developments. These include electronics companies and other members of the supply chain, academic and other training institutions, engineering associations, government institutions, small and medium enterprises, venture capitalists, original equipment manufacturers, resellers, independent designers. With these new developments in EPDC, the local electronics industry of the Philippines can be pushed towards global competitiveness. All these are made possible with the cooperation of various sectors in society. The Electronic Industries Association of the Philippines Incorporated represents the sector and advocates its needs, ensuring industry-led inputs are well considered in government-led efforts. The government sector is spearheaded by the Department of Science and Technology, With the setup of the EPDC facility, the DOST has laid the groundwork for strengthened science and technology investment to more industry-facing activities. The Department of Trade and Industry identified the Information and Communications Technology as one of its industry clusters. The DTI's role is crucial in creating a conducive and enabling environment for growth and in developing competitive and innovative small and medium enterprises that have access to market and finance. The EPDC under EPIIC aims to become a game changer that catalyzes productivity and global competitiveness of the local electronics industry. The EPDC will help further boost the country's efforts toward upgrading our electronics industry to become world-class companies producing world-class products. The DOST and DTI are committed to ensuring that the goals of EPIIC will succeed, to enhance the growth of the Philippine electronics industry and attract more talents and experts towards the country's economic and social development and its collective prosperity.
Magandang umaga po. Jan po from EPDC, EPP Department. Next slide, please. EPP provides manufacturing support for university research programs, offering design manufacturing expertise to small and medium-sized companies. We also do co-development and prototyping of devices. Some updates from EPP are arrival of wet process and the projects we made. Next slide, please. Some of the wet process benefits are the increase in fabrication volume and increase of maximum board size we can fabricate. Also, the capability of plated through holes and unique surface finish. These are some photos of our facility. Here are the oven and printing room, wet process room, CNC room. Next slide, please. And also the equipment. So we have here the through-hole plating, the developing, etching, and stripping machine. And on the other side is the circulating wastewater and the surface finish equipment. Next slide. And this is the new CNC drilling equipment and the dry film and UV exposure. Aside from fabrication, we also do prototyping. So this is one of the prototype we do in EPDC. This is DOST preferred funded. So the main purpose of BIT simulator is to help test the prototype ventilators. Next slide, please. So here is the front view. You have the 13-inch LCD panel and the input-output going to ventilators. Next slide, please. And also, this is the recent project for EPDC. This is a joint project between EPDC, AMCen, and ITDI. EPDC working on the controls and AMCen working on the mechanicals. ITDI working on the zeolite. That is the main component to separate oxygen from the ambient air. So the main purpose of this is to help ease the lack of oxygen concentrator in the country. This is still in the early development stage.
Thank you, Sir Ryan. Sir Jules, as the EMC and Test Engineering Head of EPDC, maybe you can elaborate a bit on the other services of EPDC, if you may.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. as for my department, for AMC and test engineering, we do have the electromagnetic compatibility testing, and now we have the product safety testing. So we can assure our clients and to those who want to avail those services that we can provide them the best service that we can have.
Thank you, Sir Jules. It's good to know that there is a certification test or testing service and prototyping development services available to the public. Surely it will be a great help in the commercialization of electronic products. And next up for AMCen, we have Engineer Joseph Garcia with a presentation to cover their services.
Good morning again, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Siguro before I start with my presentation, I would like to say that this is a very exciting time to be innovative, to create new products because of all the technologies that we have now, especially with EPDC there to develop the electronic components and test the components, and then AMCen here to develop the casings for those electronics components using rapid prototyping. So with these technologies, it will be easier, it will be more cost effective, and it will be more, it will be faster to develop electronic products that are competitive and can be marketed easily either locally or internationally. So in saying that, maybe we can continue on with my pre-recorded message to give a brief overview of AMCen. Thank you.
This morning, I would like to share with you the significance on why we established the Advanced Manufacturing Center and some of our activities that help contribute in the improvement of the global competitive index of the country through technology readiness, business sophistication, and innovation. Then I will sum it all up in a brief summary of all the key takeaways that I would like you to get from this presentation today. So in 2019, the Philippines was ranked 64th out of 141 countries in terms of the Global Competitive Index. So this is 8th place lower than our ranking in 2018. This Global Competitive Index is composed of 12 pillars that are grouped into 4 categories like enabling environment, human capital, markets, and innovation ecosystem. So for AMCen, we focused on 3 of these pillars, which are the technological readiness, business sophistication, and innovation. For technological readiness, in 2019 we were ranked 88 out of the 141 countries. This mainly focused on the availability of latest technologies, firm-level technology absorption, and foreign direct investment and technology transfer. AMCen has 2 program components. One is the development of multiple materials platform for additive manufacturing or MatDev. The other one is the research on advanced prototyping for product innovation and development using additive manufacturing technologies or rapid ADMATEC. Project 1 was launched last December 22, 2020 under ITDI, and Project 2 was launched last June 14, 2021 under MIRDC. The Advanced Manufacturing Center as a whole has the following services like training, materials R&D, prototyping, testing and evaluation, R&D collaborations, design concepts, policy standards, and education formation. To address the technological readiness of the country in terms of additive manufacturing, AMCen has acquired several 3D printers that covers multiple materials like metals, ceramics, composites, and polymers. We have also acquired several equipments for 3D scanning and filament making. We have also acquired multiple materials for characterization, for the development of raw materials for 3D printing, and softwares for the 3D design and simulation for additive manufacturing. AMCen has partnered with several technology providers that locate their latest solutions, including 3D printers, in our facility without any cost to the government. This equipment can be used for R&D, training, and services. In turn, our partners can leverage AMCen as a showroom where they can bring in their prospective clients and demonstrate their latest technologies without any additional cost for rental and utilities expenses. This ensures that AMCen has the latest technologies available all the time. For business sophistication, in 2019, we were ranked 44th out of the 141 countries, and this focuses mainly on the country's overall business networks and individual firms' operation and strategies. To improve our country's business sophistication, we have established the AMCen Connected Minds. This is an ecosystem that seeks to build a community of professionals, practitioners, and innovation centers to enable the thriving of research and development and induce the adoption of additive manufacturing for advanced prototyping and product innovation and development. The Connected Minds ecosystem has 5 clusters. First is the Academe cluster, which is composed of our 11 university partners nationwide. The second cluster is the Technology Innovators, which includes the startup companies, TBIs, RRICs, and other innovators. The third cluster is composed of DOST regional offices as part of the AMCen Advanced Remote Manufacturing Service, or AMCen ARMS. The next, Cluster 4, is composed of technology partners that have located their technology in AMCen. And lastly, Cluster 5 is composed of 3D printing service providers like 3D2Go, 3D Print PH, ShapeCloud, and all the Fab Labs nationwide. Under the Created Minds Academy, AMCen has partnered with several third-party organizations like ASTM, Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Case Western Reserve University, and all the technology providers and their respective principal equipment manufacturers to develop an AM curriculum that can be integrated in the existing bachelor's degree courses, master's degree courses, and even PhD courses available in the country. AMCen was also tapped by Unilab Foundation to be the scientific and technical partner and authorized training provider for the Advanced Manufacturing Institute. For the innovation, Philippines was ranked 72nd out of the 141 countries, and this focuses mainly on our capability to do research and development. We recognize the importance of additive manufacturing in increasing and accelerating the innovation of our country, mainly because of its capabilities in rapid prototyping, mass customization, among others. To demonstrate this, I would like to share to you some of the R&D projects that we have worked with. First up is our collaboration with the Philippine Army, where we developed a prototype of the improvised explosive device disruptor. This disruptor was developed within 6 months and was successfully tested last December 2020. Another one is our partnership with the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute for the development of a column filter for radiation-gravity absorbents for wastewater. This also took 6 months to develop and was successfully tested last November 2020. Another is our collaboration with the Futuristic Aviation and Maritime Enterprise, or FAME, which is a startup company. They develop transponders that are used to track boats and tuna catches in Mindanao. In this project, we assisted in the development of the casing for their electronics without the need of any tooling, and this project was completed in a year. Here are some of the ongoing R&D projects that AMCen is working on, mainly for aerospace, transport, defense, industry, medical, and radiation. What are AMCen's future directions? For technology readiness, AMCen is considering to acquire additional 3D printers for its second phase. Most of these printers are geared towards low to medium volume production, just like binder jetting technology, polyjet 3D printing, high-speed extrusion printing, and this also focuses on concrete 3D printing. For business sophistication and to expand the reach of AMCen to all regions all throughout the country, we are putting the DOST regional offices in the forefront of additive manufacturing. All DOST regional offices will serve as a satellite laboratory for AMCen. For the innovation, we have established the Philippine AM roadmap, which focuses in 4 key areas, namely manufacturing, medical, construction, and consumer goods. For the manufacturing, we will be focusing to support the Self-Reliance Defense Posture Program of the Department of National Defense. We will also support the Philippine space programs of our Philippine Space Agency, and we will focus on low to medium volume production while ensuring that we have the capability to simulate and verify 3D printed parts. Then for the medical area, we will be focusing on the development of patient-specific implants and the development of minimally invasive surgical instrument, and ultimately develop anatomical models for pre-surgery planning and surgical training. For the construction, we will be developing a local 3D concrete printer that can print temporary or permanent housing, especially during calamities and other disasters. And this 3D printer is initially proposed to be located here in Bataan. For consumer goods, we will be focusing on using 3D printers to develop membranes for various uses. As a summary, the Philippine government, specifically DOST, recognized the critical role of additive manufacturing in realizing the vision of increasing the country's global competitiveness and innovation. This is why we established the Advanced Manufacturing Center, which was launched in 2021 and is one of the first government-led centers in the ASEAN region, which has a direct impact on technological advancement and technology readiness of the Philippines. And to foster effective business sophistication and collaboration, AMCen developed Connected Minds, Philippine additive manufacturing ecosystem, which seeks to build a community of professional practitioners and innovation centers to enable the thriving of R&D and induce the adoption of additive manufacturing in the country. And as AMCen continues to grow, we invite friends and colleagues from the AM community to connect and collaborate with us, especially in doing R&D projects, lifting up the innovation in our country, and advancing the Philippines towards Industry 4.0. Thank you, and let's go beyond the conventional.
Thank you, Sir Joseph. It's great to know that AMCen, equipped with world-class 3D printing technology, is here to help innovators and develop a thriving community of research and development. Uh, as someone who's not that knowledgeable in 3D printing, kasi ang ano ko lang, ang experience ko sa 3D printing is nakikita ko lang yung ano. As in nakita ko sa second phase ng AMCen, kahit marami na silang marami na silang equipment for 3D printing, meron pang maraming idadagdag. So, Sir Fred, ano po ba yung mga nako-cover talaga ng services ng AMCen, and ano pa yung maraming idadagdag? Kasi parang sa tingin ko ang dami ng kaya na nilang gawin. So, what else are there to add?
Oh, yes. Based on the presentation of Joseph, in the phase 1 of the project, we already have acquired various technologies that would enable us to print, or do product development and innovation involving materials, for example, like ceramics, metals, composites, polymers, among others. And of course, this involves a lot of different technologies to do that. So in phase 2, we will focus on acquiring additional technologies in support of our Philippine additive manufacturing roadmap. And as explained by Joseph earlier. So there is much to expect from AMCen to support our electronics industry in terms of product development and innovation.
Thank you, sir. And also, a reminder to our viewers on Zoom and Facebook, you may type your comments and questions for our Q&A session later, as of now, and so that we can compile it later, and we will answer it for our Q&A session. And so, how can EPDC and AMCen together assist someone with the full development of a device or maybe a concept? So to explain EPD and AMCen's product development program, let us welcome Engineer Julius Solomon. Sir, morning. Hello po, sir.
Good morning, Kit. So, my fellow speakers here, good morning. So, to our audience, mayong buntag. Okay, Kit. So, we'll be discussing about the product development program. So, I think I have one slide so that our audience can also refer to what I am saying, discussing with Kit. Okay, so as you can see in the slide, Kit, there are 6 steps for product development, but actually I prepared to have it in phases. So there are 5 phases, but phase 1 was not included in that slide. So the phase 1 will be opportunity. So it involves identification of the product. So what kind of product do we need to produce, to develop? Okay. Then after that, we go to phase 2, which is the product conceptualization. Okay. Then in this phase 2, we have to brainstorming. We have to PCB design, layout. Okay. Then include all the enclosure design, the functionality, the product. Then we come to the phase 3. Okay. In phase 3, this is now the product design proper. So PCB prototyping, we will engage with PCB prototyping, then assembly. Then of course, we can use the AMCen services for the product enclosure. Okay, so our colleagues here can also be involved in that product development, because we need their 3D printing skills for this type of project. Then after the phase 3, we go now to the phase 4. The phase 4 will involve testing, product testing. We have EMC testing, product safety testing, and of course the functionality testing of the product. So in this stage, we must pass the EMC and the product safety to acquire later the certification and the marking of a product. So very important. And this phase, some engineers may find difficulties in passing this AMCen product safety testing. But they can get along with this testing. And if we succeed with this testing, then we go to the phase 5, which is the mass production. But before mass production, again, earlier, during phase 4, I mentioned about the certification. We must pass the certification. But this time, only for application, because we already passed the testing, the AMCen product safety testing. Okay? Then once we pass that, the certification was given to us, then we can now mass produce the product. Then other researcher include not only phase 5 but also phase 6, which is the marketability of your product. So that's where the marketing sales guys known for that area. So that's basically the product development program. Okay.
That is great to hear, actually. It's a great kind of foundation even for our viewers to see this slide. It can serve as for those interested, that they can maybe use it as a basis when you're interested in applying for the services of EPDC and AMCen, as a guideline for the development of a product or a concept that you would want to develop in the future. So, and that is really wonderful to hear. Sabi nga ni Dr. Guevara kanina, ni Yusek, the first step will always be the hardest. And with that, EPDC and AMCen helping, that first step won't be as hard or as daunting as before. And that concludes the overviews and services of EPDC and AMCen. And apart from that, joining us virtually are our guest speakers who have availed and experienced the services of EPDC and AMCen. Firstly, let me introduce our first guest speaker. He earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering cum laude at UP Diliman and a master's degree in biomedical engineering from the University of Minnesota. He has 14 inventions, over 20 patents in different countries. He is also the lead engineer of the Axis knee system, which was awarded the DOST-STII Outstanding Technology Commercialization Award in 2017. Please welcome the President of Orthopedics International Incorporated, Engineer Jude L. Sassing.
Good morning. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you for inviting me to give a short presentation on sort of a testimony of services that we have availed. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, okay. So this is about development of electronic medical devices. First, I will introduce our company. Our company was established many years ago by our chairman and founder, Dr. Ramon B. Gustillo. The purpose of our company was really for him. It was to design and manufacture innovative and high quality and affordable orthopedic products, mainly for the Philippines. And we have CNC machines, and we also have our in-house R&D. We're a small company of about 50 employees, and we have ISO 13485 certification. This is the ISO certification for design and manufacturing of medical devices. Our manufacturing capabilities include, as I mentioned, CNC machining. But aside from that, we also do finishing, cleaning, packaging, and sterilization. So essentially, we can do everything in-house, from raw material to finished sterile implants that can be, used in the operating room for patients. Our in-house R&D, we have engineers And we collaborate with other engineering firms. Also, we do our testing outside. We send them outside for testing. And we also work with doctors, orthopedic surgeons, aside from our CEO and chairman, Dr. Bustillo. These are our products. Fracture fixation, these are products this is for fixing fractures of the bone. We have spinal implants used also for trauma, sometimes for trauma, for scoliosis and other spinal diseases or ailments. We also have a hip replacement system for a total hip when a patient has osteoarthritis and the hip is very painful, so you can have an artificial hip done. We also have the Axis knee replacement system, which is a knee implant for osteoarthritis of the knee. This project was co-funded. We did this in collaboration with DOST and PCHRD, or Philippine Council for Health Research and Development. What's unique about this is we have this mechanical targeting device, alignment device, to assure that the implant is aligned properly. And this is we also patented this. So these are our products. And you may be wondering now, where does electronics come in here? There's really no electronics here. Well, what has happened is that orthopedic implants have been around for quite some time, many decades, and a lot of research has been done on implants, and designs have been many companies, big companies, have designed implants, studied implants, and essentially there are all the studies have been published, and practically everything probably that needs to be known about implants have been studied, and the implants have been optimized. The designs of implants have been optimized. And I think it has come to a point of sort of diminishing returns to improve the implant design. And companies now in our industry are really moving towards how to put the implants into, to implant the implants into the patients well and consistently in order to improve clinical outcomes. So that means instrumentation, or how to align the implants properly. And so this is now the trend in orthopedics. Companies are really looking into instruments, and inevitably we have to incorporate electronics for better functionality. And such as this device, for example, this is a computer-assisted system where you have this, you have 2 cameras, and the cameras will track the position of these probes placed on the bone, so that the computer can determine the movement and the anatomy, and essentially guide the surgeons on how to cut the bones properly and how to align the implants. And there are also there are even robotic assisted surgeries and all that. So this also puts pressure on our company to really go to improve we cannot just stay purely, I think, mechanical. We have to improve our instruments to take advantage of technology. So we proposed, we have 2 projects ongoing now with DOST, also funded by PCHRD. This is the development of a distal targeting device for intramedullary nails and development of a hip replacement system. Now, both these projects involve electronics, and surprisingly, we don't have an electronics engineer in our company. My background is mechanical engineering and bioengineering. I had 1 course in PE during my college days, and 1 course in programming, which was Turbo Pascal. I'm sure the younger generations probably don't know what Turbo Pascal is anymore. But fortunately, I guess those subjects gave me enough basic knowledge, and together with what's available on the online resources, there's a lot that you can learn from there. During the start of the pandemic, when we had the initial lockdowns nationwide, our company had to do a 2-month shutdown. So this gave me really a lot of time in my hands, and I got to think about new ideas. And so I was forced to do some research into some electronics gadgets. And I was surprised that, these days electronics are kind of have been made available to lay people in a way. So I tried to learn Arduino. I used Arduino and used different sensors, and I had enough what I was able to do enough so to test the ideas that I was able to, I was thinking about, and I was able to write these proposals. I was able to show that the concepts I was thinking about were feasible, and so I was able to write the proposals to DOST, and our proposal was approved. However, none of this would not have been possible without EPDC. You see, EPDC really allows hobbyists like me to test ideas. A lot of, I think, people will have ideas, but sometimes they don't really have the resources and even the technical know-how to implement what they think about their main idea. And I think EPDC is a big help in that direction. So they have the turnaround time is very fast, and pricing is very reasonable. Their customer service is very responsive and accommodating. And because of that, I was able to have my ideas, the things I was thinking about, printed in a PCB, and I was able to test it. Now, I'd love to show you what we have done, the videos of what we have done so far, and we're really very excited about these products. But I cannot do that because of confidentiality reasons. We are still applying for a patent for that, which we hope to file this week or maybe next week in the US. But I'll just show you a picture of these are the PCBs that is very simple, but it's allowed me to test the ideas. So now, after the initial prototypes, and we're doing this full-blown project now, we're working with electronics consultants to help us kind of bring this to the next level. And once we have that medical device prototype, which is now sort of medical grade, we will be needing again EPDC's help through this EMC, electromagnetic compatibility testing facility that they have to test our medical devices. I understand that EPDC has already tested a few medical devices in the past, and I hope that we'll be testing our device also soon, maybe next year, before we can apply for FDA regular approvals, certifications. So I would just like to thank EPDC and the people behind EPDC for being there, for being a facility that can provide these services to people like me, like not maybe some are really electronics people, but even me was no background in electronics. EPDC was able to provide resources that I needed to test an idea, to show feasibility, so that you will have enough information to bring it to the next level. And I hope that the presence of EPDC and AMCen, more people, more engineers and even lay people, I think, can be encouraged to be innovative and develop their innovations into prototypes and eventually into products that will be marketed and can help more people. That's all. Thank you.
To continue working with OII, hopefully in the near future. And knowing that kanina sa presentation ng AMCen, they are also planning for 3D printing of possibly yung implants, medical implants, no? And OII is also focusing on that. So maybe pwede po ba yun? Makapag-collaborate or sometime makapag-develop po with ng mga medical implants for
Yes, for me, yes. 3D printed implants are being used now in other countries, but it will need, if we will ever print 3D printed implants here in our country, I think it needs more. We need to do some research and development into that. There are some, it's not just simply printing an implant. There are several issues that need to be considered, like biocompatibility, cleaning, strength of the implant, and so on. But yes, it is possible. There are already companies in other countries that are doing this for certain indications and patients.
Ayun nga po, alam ko, it's medical implants, lalo na yung is very strict pagdating sa certifications nga po. Kayo po, sir, maybe you have anything to ask for Sir Jude po from our speakers? So again, thank you, Sir Jude. It's great to have you here, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for our second guest speaker, he is a private pilot, a mechanical engineer, and an innovator. He has been in the IT industry for the past 18 years with experience in both hardware and software development. He developed transponders originally to solve tracking and monitoring issues in the aviation industry, then realizing that the IoT device he made can also be used for tracking maritime vessels and for sending telemetry data from sensors. Let's all welcome the Chief Technology Officer of the futuristic Aviation and Maritime Enterprise Incorporated, Engineer Arcelio J. Fetizanan Jr. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to all. Yeah, can I share my screen? So for the presentation. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so good afternoon. Good morning to all. I am Junjun Fetizanan of Futuristic Aviation and Maritime Enterprise, or FAME. We're actually in the business of uplifting the lives of fishermen through our maritime transponders. So just to give you a brief about what we do, nabanggit nga kanina, we create transponders originally for aircrafts. But right now, we're really focused on the maritime industry, specifically on the fishing industry, para doon sa ating mga small fishing vessels that are there. Kasi tuwing may bagyo, tuwing laging yung mga maliliit na mga isda, yung mga boats na maliliit ang nawawala. So basically, they need tracking and monitoring. So we create transponders. We're using the LoRaWAN network to send the information coming in from our transponders going to our gateways and to our platform. So siguro brief lang nung ginagawa namin. Ito yung typical na day-to-day activities namin before the pandemic. Actually, we deploy transponders sa mga small fishing boats. We train them how to use the transponders, and yan, kung nakita nyo, we make use of standard casings that are readily available outside. Since we're a startup, so basically yun yung nakita namin para mabilis yung paggawa namin, we buy the casings already from the outside. Ayan. So continuous to, basically before the pandemic, we're actually deploying our transponders, and even now actually during the pandemic, we started to deploy again transponders to small fishing boats that are actually yung mga nangingisda do sa ating mga municipal coastlines. Yan. So ito yung typical tracking that we get. For example, for a coastline, isang LGU, they want to monitor all the boats that are actually going in and out of their yung nasasakupan nila. So they can monitor it now, whether it be on a PC or even on mobile. So they can see where the boats are at any given time. So isa sa mga binibigay namin na value-added service for the fishermen is for safety. And we're proud to say that we were actually able to save at least 3 fishermen already. Their boats sank, but because they have transponders and we were able to pinpoint the location, yung last location nila, we were able to retrieve the fishermen. Yung LGU, they were able to retrieve the fishermen, and including the boat, kasi yung mga boats naman natin, mga fishing boats natin, may katig, hindi talaga siya lumulubog ng todo, so pwede pa siya hilahin. So we're proud to say na at least kahit 3, nagawa namin yung sinasabi namin na value-added service on that part. Yeah, but nakita namin yung real value ng transponders namin when we actually started using it for fish catch documentation and traceability. Apparently, may need pala to track all the catches that we have, specifically yung mga ine-export natin na products, kailangan monitored kung saan nahuli, kailan nahuli, yung mga ganong klase. So what we did was to enhance our transponders, equip it with NFC modules, na kung saan, for example, nakahuli na yung mangingisda ng tuna, ang gagawin niya, kukuha lang siya ng NFC card, itatap lang niya doon sa transponder, automatic yung location, yung kung kailan nahuli, yung pangalan ng mangingisda, pangalan ng boat is recorded on that tag already. And what they do is they just tie it on the fish. For example, for dito sa mga malaking fish, they tie it on the tail. Pag maliliit na fish, tinatay nila doon sa banyera na nauhuli nila. So now they have documentation of what they need. Yung kailangan ng regulators natin, for example, BFAR, and also yung mga bumibili outside the country, yung mga nag-i-import ng products na maritime products natin from the Philippines. They need this documentation. So yun. So basically right now, if you see fish, for example, in Palawan, you can see tags, or in Mindoro or in Bicol, pag dumating yung fish, meron na siyang tag na kasama. So identified na saan nahuli yung isda, kailan nahuli, and then yung details of the fishermen are already included there for complete fish catch documentation and traceability. So because of that, actually matagal na naming nakakausap ang DOST. Specifically, for example, for Fisher, we got a project with them wherein we actually deployed our transponders. Naghahanap kami ng mas way to actually power our device. Kasi since matagal sa laot yung mga mangingisda, and one way of doing that, of course, through solar, and then another one is through wind. If you go to Palawan, for example, you can see these boats that have propellers in them. So basically, that's one of the transponders that we have that was funded as a research funded by DOST. Another project that we had in Mimaropa, in Palawan, and Mindoro is we deployed water level sensors and then rain gauge sensors dun sa mga remote areas. Since we're using radio frequency, the LoRaWAN network, so nakukuha namin yung information kahit walang cellphone signal dun sa area, going to our gateways and then going to the cloud. So they can actually view yung water level dun sa specific area and then yung actual amount of rain sa bundok bago pa bumaba yung tubig papunta sa kapatagan. So yun yung ginagawa namin. And then during the pandemic, we actually sidetracked a little bit. Wherein nagkaroon ng call before si DOST for us to actually submit a design. And sa amin yung napili, we incorporated sensors since being a technology company also. So we incorporated sensors dun sa aming mga specimen collection booths, and it was distributed all over the country. What we did was we opened the design so others can actually download it and then create their own. So it's available on the DOST website. Ang kagandahan nun, nakita namin ang dami nag-download even sa ibang countries, and we were able to help them. Yung mga local industries, for example, in Region 1 and Region 2, na walang kapangkabuhayan during the pandemic, they were able to download this bot and then they were able to create their own and then sell it dun sa mga local hospitals that they have in the region. So yun yung mga ginagawa namin. But because of kahit na pandemic, we're really focused on the maritime industry, on the fishing industry. And true enough, last year, naging batas na yung kailangan all boats, fishing boats must have tracking and monitoring capability. So for us, since yung mga deployments namin, we got feedback from from the fishermen itself, from the users, kung ano yung mga pwede pa naming enhance. Tama-tama, we were actually in talks already before with DOST-MIRDC and then of course AMCen to create a prototype casing for our transponders. So mas robust, para mas madali rin ma-install. And then yung mga naging problems namin before during installation, sana ma-solve namin by creating a different type of casing. So ito yun, unang project namin with actually is to create a prototype kasi magpe-present ako sa isang international event. March 5 before the pandemic. And actually, the DOST was able to actually provide us with the prototypes using the 3D printer that they have. And I was able to present with the new casing already. And then, ang dami nagkaroon ng interest because nakita nila yung coming in from us buying ready-made casings that are available, from creating a customized one na talagang yung gamit niya is para doon sa specific purpose for being a transponder and then providing data to the fishermen and to the yung mga owners and then yung mga buyers then. So ito yung unang nagawa namin na casing. And then after that, we actually collaborated with DOST with regards to the development of our cases for our transponders. So what we did is co-develop siya. So we actually give our inputs. AMCen actually also gives their input. And then we were able to actually create yung aming mga initial design. So nagkaroon ng mga design iterations based on dun sa usage and then sa actual design. Ang nakakatuwa dun is basically we're a small team. So we don't have actually we do research but basically yung mga nitty-gritties nung design, nung development is hindi namin masyado nakikita kasi since we actually always go out then for deployments. And yun yung ang laking tulong ng DOST for us because talagang binusisi nila lahat ng mga feedback and lahat ng mga comments and pati mismo dun sa paglagay nung mga wordings and then yung mga paglagay ng screws para hindi makalawang yung mga screws natin and everything. Pati yung kung paano namin ilalagay yung transponder sa boats. Kasi normally, mga small fishing boats, they don't want to actually put screws or doon sa kanilang boats. So we make use of cable ties. So we design one that is really compatible for small boats. So yun. And then we made 3D printed samples, which is actually through DOST. And then after that, we actually experimented also on the different types of materials until we came up with the actual design right now of that transponder casing. So napakalaking tulong talaga. It actually helped us a lot in making that feedback that we got from fishermen into a reality, actually into casing that we can make use of specifically for that purpose. And then right now, actually, for AMCen, we're actually filing we are filing our IP. Actually, it's together with DOST since it's a collaborative effort. So we co-own that particular design. And then right now, we're actually in talks also with EPDC since we're actually enhancing the PCB designs of our devices. Since sa batas, they require redundancy of sending information. So may mga konting tweaks kaming ginagawa. And we're actually consulting with EPDC about this. And then we're also in discussion on providing a small trial run, of course, for the new design. And then for the testing. Kanina pinakita ni Sir Julius yung ating yung flow kung paano. Sa amin medyo naiba lang. Nauna yung casing kasi since we have an initial design already and we're using that PCB. And then we are making enhancements on that. But yun yung sinusunod din namin yung process na yun para in the end, pag pinag-mass pro na namin, talagang very efficient siya. At nakakatuwa doon, it's we actually have everything created here in the Philippines. The design, the manufacturing, and even the testing is done here in the Philippines. So nakaka-proud lang, and thankfully DOST is there to actually support us. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Sir June. Ang galing no, since from a startup na nakapag-produce na po kayo with the help of EPDC and AMCen ng mga transponders, and knowing that nakapag-locate na ng boats and fishermen. Tama ba? Using
yes,
the
sir.
device, parang that's a big accomplishment po, no?
Sa amin kahit isa lang, sabi namin kahit isa lang yung masave namin. But right now on our records, we have 3 already. One is in Mindanao, another one is in Mindoro, natusok ng swordfish yung kanyang boat. But we were able to actually retrieve the boat and the fisherman also.
Talas pala, no? Nakabubutas po pala ng swordfish ang
Malaki ang swordfish actually. Blue marlin actually. Yeah.
So again, thank you, Sir June, for being with us today. And just a reminder to our participants in our Kapihan, you may put your questions for the Q&A below if you have any questions from our guests, Sir June or Sir Jude from OII. And also, please fill out the attendance form in the Zoom, in our Zoom meeting. And before we get to our Q&A session, we are proud to announce our sponsor for this Kapihan, Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Technoparks. And with that, may I introduce to you the head of Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Technoparks team, Ms. Gail T. Santos, for a few words from our sponsor.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear my audio? Hello? Can you hear my audio? Hi.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning po. I think yung audio po ba is medyo mahina? Apo, mahina ba? Hello po.
Is this okay? Is this better?
Ayan po, lumakas pero it's a bit choppy po, ma'am.
Okay.
Ayan.
Sige, I'll just...
Ayan.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so good morning, everyone. Firstly, would like to express our gratitude to EPDC and the rest of our organizers for having us as one of the sponsors for this exclusive event. Thank you, EPDC. Thank you, everyone. So to start off, let me just give a bit of a background for Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corp, or ALHC. It is a publicly listed company and a subsidiary of Ayala Land, with Ali owning 72% of the company. So it is the leading developer and operator of industrial parks and a major player in real estate logistics in the Philippines. ALHC's leadership in the industrial parks is manifested in its land bank, the number of jobs created, and export revenues generated by our locators inside the industrial parks. ALHC continues to grow its commercial leasing income through to the Taban Center and South Park Center. So under ALHC, we have 2 operating commercial centers, which are the Taban Center and South Park Center, located in Muntinlupa. So we first started our technoparks with Laguna Technopark back in 1990. So this one, we are extremely proud of this development because we are serving over 200 companies, both foreign and local. We have a lot of electronics companies inside Laguna Technopark, also both foreign and local. Majority are Japanese companies. And this has grown from 200 hectares to 400 hectares, spanning 2 cities in Laguna, Binyan and Santa Rosa. And this is actually our vision for each of the industrial park that we are present, to serve to the community, to grow the community, and boost the growth of that community where we are present. So in the next video, we'll show some of the developments that we have currently under ALHC.
The Philippines, the gateway to Asian and Western markets, is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. The country's status as an economic and geographic focal point is reinforced by its sizable and talented labor force. The steady stream of highly trainable, well-skilled, and English-fluent workforce makes the Philippines highly competitive. Add to that the reasonable labor costs and government-mandated investment incentives, the Philippines is the ideal launchpad for any business with global or local aspirations. While the country progresses, Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corporation continues to transform landscapes into dynamic urban centers in the country.
So back in 1990, a vast sugarcane field was converted or evolved into a world-class industrial zone. This is Laguna Technopark. Laguna Technopark is one of the first privately owned industrial parks in the Philippines. Now, after 3 decades, it is now the home of over 270 locators. These are foreign companies and domestic companies, and they occupy from 220 hectares in 1990 to 471 hectares today. We are very proud to say that the Laguna Technopark is an integral part in the economic boom or progress of the Calabar Zone region. So this is the thrust of Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corp, or ALL-HC. We create environments that energize and support businesses. We also make sure we develop distinctive and customer-focused industrial parks that are hubs of convergence and economic activity. We also provide logistics facilities that make doing business easier and more convenient. Hand in hand, we work with our investors, with the government, and we are co-catalysts for progress. We open opportunities for growth and development for our locators and for the communities where we are present. So this is the story of Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corp, or ALL-HC.
Now, ALL-HC has set their sights in other regions, continuously expanding in the emerging areas of the country.
Located in the province of Cavite, one of the most industrialized and fastest growing provinces in the Philippines, we built the Cavite Technopark in the municipality of Nai. It is a 166-hectare industrial park development that caters to light and medium, non-polluting enterprises. It caters to investors that specialize in electronics, automotive, consumer products, food processing, and pharmaceuticals, among others. But it doesn't stop there. We are expanding geographically. ALL-HC has recently unveiled Laguindingan Technopark, our very first industrial park development in Mindanao. Strategically located beside the Laguindingan International Airport in Misamis Oriental and in close proximity to the cities of Iligan and Cagayan de Oro, this 105-hectare development will cater to light and medium, non-polluting enterprises, both from the global and local markets. We will also have another development in Pampanga. Aside from our Alviera Industrial Park in the municipality of Porac, we will now develop Pampanga Technopark in Mabalacat City. Just a few minutes away from the Clark International Airport, this 192-hectare development is highly accessible by expressways and national highways. And not to mention, inside our industrial parks, we also offer ready-built facilities or standard factory buildings to cater to small and medium enterprises. Ranging from 500 to 1,500 square meters, these facilities are already equipped with basic amenities such as loading bays and fire protection system. All this allow the businesses to immediately operate and reduce their capital expenditures. We make it a point that all HC's current and future developments have the core component of being highly accessible from the Philippines' primary international airports, seaports, and national highways.
ALL-HC's developments are fully equipped to provide businesses with the proper infrastructure and facilities that make doing business easier and more convenient.
The strategic location is very important to us, as well as the infrastructure and facilities made available at the park. We appreciate very well the infrastructures such as well-paved roads. The road network is very excellent. It's a first class. And the sufficient supply of industrial and domestic potable water. Of course, the waste treatment facilities there and the very reliable power supply. Worth mentioning is the safe environment through the security measures being enjoyed not only by the locators and employees, but likewise pedestrians and motorists.
Other amenities that support businesses are adequately provided.
After we visiting all the areas in near the Manila areas, so we found the very industry zones. They already have the existing buildings, and also they already have pesos. As our main products is for export, so we need pesos. So all the guides of how to build up the companies, how to register companies, how to get all the documents from the government, all these things guided. So they will help us. Even now they are helping us for all the things which we needed. Why we chose here is because here is near the Subic port. And also here the transportation, they have AC roads. For the transportation, it's more convenient. And also here the work people, the workers the source is rich.
It's been almost 3 decades since the first industrial park of Ayala Land Logistics has been built. And since then, it wasn't just businesses that prospered. More than 100,000 employees have been employed, and export revenues have reached more than $7 billion. As All HC continues to pioneer and break ground, it transforms landscapes into hubs for industrial and logistics convergence, supporting businesses and communities across the country as a partner in sustainable growth and development. When it comes to business, only the best will suffice. Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corporation, a prime choice for limitless business opportunities.
So to summarize, all of our industrial parks have adequate facilities. We're strategically located near the major highways, near the infrastructure projects. We have the locations and the availability of workforce, and of course the infrastructure projects of the different local government units, and of course enough market activity. So for any inquiries, feel free to email us. You may also visit the website of Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corp for more information of our developments. So that's the last slide. Thank you everyone, and a blessed morning.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Gail. And again, thank you to Ayala Land Logistics Holding Corp for sponsoring our Kapihan. Now to get back on track, we can now begin our Q&A for this Kapihan. We've compiled the questions written on Zoom and on Facebook Live for this Q&A session. Pero pangunahan ko na po kayo, singitan ko na kayo since ako yung host. Tatanong ko lang kay Sir Jules about sa certification. Okay lang po ba, sir? About sa sa certifications pati sa product markings po ba? Kailangan po ba yun talaga para if ima-market mo lang or ipoproduce mo yung ima-market mo lang yung product locally dito lang po sa PH?
Kailangan talaga yung certification at saka markings ng product. So ganito yon. Ikaw tatanungin kita, kung ikaw yung bibili ng isang product, alin ba yung pipiliin mo? Yung may certification or yung wala?
Siyempre sir, yung may certification.
Yan. So bakit kailangan nating bibilhin yung may certification? Ano bang meron doon? Di ba? So, yun. Kasi alam natin, once certified yung isang product, alam natin na tama yung pagkakagawa niya base doon sa mga standards na pinagbabasihan. So, yun yung tinitest natin sa EPDC. Halimbawa, maliban yun sa maliban yun sa functionality niya. Of course, functionality niya, yan, yung mga engineers na gumagawa niyan, alam nila yon. Then pagdating naman sa AMC at saka product safety, iti-test natin yung durability ng isang product. Then, yun, halimbawa, for AMC, di ba siya nakaka-apekto? Hindi ba siya maapektuhan? So, ibig sabihin, compatible siya doon sa paggagamitan natin, sa environment na paggagamitan natin. So pagdating naman sa product safety, may assurance tayo na hindi ito masusunog according to our usage. Diba? Ganun lang yun. So kailangan, dapat sana.
Ayun nga.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jules. And ngayon, sagutin na po namin yung questions written na na-compile sa ating participants. Isa po kay Sir Otep, para ko kay Sir Otep or kay Sir Fred, kay Sir Joseph po. Anonymous question po siya. I watched in Grey's Anatomy, palabas, I think it's a series, TV series po, no? That they 3D print human organs. Do they already have that capability in the PH, or can AMCen do this kind of 3D printing po? The 3D printing of human organs po?
Okay, so thank you for that question. In terms of printing organs, we are ang focus namin is more on the anatomical models. So for example, merong isang patient na i-operate in a very critical location, kunyari sa brain niya or sa spine niya, na the physicians or the surgeons need to assess yung risks that are involved dun sa surgery. So what they will do first is to have a CT scan of the patient, and then from that scan we can create 3D models of the actual placement of if it's a tumor, the tumor, then andun din yung mga organs nung patient, and then we can 3D print it. And then from there, yung printed model will serve as parang practice model ng mga surgeon before they do the actual surgery. So not necessarily na actual na organ yung ipiprint, but more on an anatomical model for surgical planning. And then another issue rin is yung tawag dito, yung quality ng cadavers pag nasa medical school ka naman. So pwede ring i-print yung instead of actual cadaver, ipiprint na lang yung anatomical model for surgical training naman. Yun, sir.
So that's it. That's the answer to your question po. And here, another question for Sir Jules. Ano-ano usually ang reason kung bakit daw nag-fail ang electronic products sa testing?
Pakiulit po.
Ito pa. Ano-ano ang usually ang reason kung bakit daw po nag-fail ang electronic products sa testing?
Maraming factors kasi kung bakit mag-fail yung isang product sa testing. Unang factors niyan, hindi nakapalo sa standard. Hindi binasa yung standard. Actually, sa design stage, ito, I think the audience will agree with me, lalo na sa mga engineers. Bago gumawa kasi ng product, pinag-aralan mo na yan. Kung anong product at saka anong standards gagamitin. Then, once meron na tayong idea kung anong standards yung gagamitin, i-apply natin yon during design stage. So, kung meron kang nakalimutan na gawin, malamang during testing, mag-fail ka talaga. Kasi hindi mo siya, halimbawa, dapat mo palang maglagay ng filters. Nakalimutan mo. So during testing, mag-fail ka, babagsak ka. Pero some engineers, based on experience, nilalagyan na lang yan nila ng mga pads. For example lang yan. Parang nakaabang. So in case hindi kailangan, pwede tatanggalin para low cost. Kung kailangan, lalagyan. So at least, hindi na siya mag-rebuild ng PCB. Okay. Na-answer ko ba?
Opo, na-answer naman po, sir. And sa tingin ko po, kung magde-develop naman po siguro ng electronic product or ganun, masusuportahan naman ng AMCen and EPDC yun pagkadating sa mga qualifications sa standards para pumasa sa tests and certifications na yun po. And ito po, follow-up question from Ma'am Gina Amaro. Yung sa EPDC test po ba, can this be used also for medical products po?
Okay. Right now, EPDC, EMC, and Test Engineering Department, inaano na kami na mag-test for medical devices, medical products. So actually, nagtitest na tayo ng ventilators, locally made ventilators from different schools na gumagawa. So sa ngayon, I heard there are from Cebu, pero hindi ko pa alam kung natuloy ba sila. But so far dito sa Manila, meron na tayong 3 na test na mga ventilators from different schools, universities here in Manila. So yes, kaya nating mag-test for medical devices lang na we have the applicable standards naman. Okay.
Here, we have a question for Sir Fred po. Ito po yung nakasulat. Because we already have the AMCen, does it mean that it is no longer advisable for hobbyists to buy their own 3D printers po?
It depends. Because there are a lot of hobbyists also that they would like to have ready access to the facility. Even at night, they could print their own. But what we intend to really provide is access to the different additive manufacturing technologies, wherein in terms of product development and innovation, our inventors, our researchers, our hobbyists would be able to access it. Not only the common ones like the FDM printers or the SLA printers, but also the other AM technologies that they would need, especially for for industry, metals, metal materials. No? So for example, if you'd like to print titanium, aluminum, stainless steel, so on and so forth, ceramics, composites. But of course, for hobbyists, they normally use FDM printers. No? As cheap as 9,000, 12,000, so on and so forth. So here at AMCen, we have a wide range of 3D printers that they could access. No? And we could provide the various services utilizing the various printers that we have.
Thank you, Sir Fred.
May I add?
Sure.
Kasi ako personally, as part of AMCen, I have my own 3D printer at home. So we don't discourage yung mga hobbyists to buy their own 3D printer. The bigger the AM community, the better. And na-prove yan nung time na kulang yung face shields natin in the country during the start of the pandemic nung March 2020. So nagkaroon ng parang yung 3D printing community PH na group, nagkaroon ng initiative to 3D print the face shields. And yung mga hobbyists nag-participate dun, yung mga nasa bahay, including AMCen. So AMCen develop nag-print kami around 500 plus face shields na dinonate sa mga frontliners. And then after nun, yung MIRDC nag-create na ng mold that can mass produce the face shield. So yung AM, yung 3D printing technology filled in the gap nung habang dinidevelop pa yung mass production na plastic injection molding, nakapag-donate na tayo, nakapag-provide na tayo ng face shields for the frontliners while waiting dun sa actual mass production na nangyari. So maganda pa rin na marami. The bigger the community, the better.
Thank you po, Sir Joseph, Sir Fred. Para po sa nagtanong, bilhin nyo na po yung 3D printer na yan. And next for a question for EPDC. In terms of cost competitiveness, how do your rates compare with other similar local testing facilities?
Sir Ryan, maybe you can answer that for the PCB side.
Sa PCB naman, mas mababa yung price namin based dun sa research na ginawa namin, mas mababa siya sa mga local.
For the testing aspect naman, tayo yung pinaka cheapest for EMC and other testing services that we offer. Why na tayo yung cheapest? Actually, this is a government testing facilities. So partly you are subsidized. So yun, kaya mas mura tayo compared to other testing facilities in the region. So ang ano naman natin dyan is Taiwan, especially for EMC. So Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan. So alam natin kung sino yung mas mura. Okay.
Thank you, Sir Ryan and Sir Jules. And here we have a question for Sir June of Fame po. So the question is, do you mass produce the transponders already? Do you sell them directly to fishermen or do you transact with LGUs?
Okay po, for the transponders right now, what we do is we actually communicate with
Sir? Sir June, excuse me. Yung audio po ata is hindi po naririnig. Maybe
Can you hear me now?
naka-mute po or sa mic.
Nakakapit na. Can you hear me now? Clear na?
Ayan po. Okay na po,
Okay.
sir.
Sorry. Yun, for us, yung transponders namin ngayon, we actually partner with maritime organizations. So sila yung nag-i-introduce with the LGUs and then also with the municipal fishing community. So since sa amin kasi we target the small mga municipal fishing vessels. So it's actually like a social enterprise na rin pagdating kasi basically we're not although may mga clients din kami na commercial, but basically most of our devices are used for small fishing vessels. Yeah.
Thank you po, Sir Jun. And a follow-up question po para kay Sir Fred po. How big is the market for 3D printing at present?
I think in terms of market size, we talk about like in the study of McKinsey. I think by 2025 we talk about like, if I'm not mistaken, about 8 billion. In terms of the ASEAN market, we lag behind Singapore. I think they are 45% of the market, and also with Malaysia and Vietnam. So ours is only 5%. So that gives us a lot of opportunities for innovation and business development. And that there is where that we think AMCen as a national laboratory or national hub for additive manufacturing can make a difference.
And here, a question from Sir Albert Bauzon. Tama po ba? Pasensya kung hindi po tama yung pag-pronounce ko. What will be the cost for a complete EMC report or FCC report? I think this is for EPDC.
The cost for that FCC report or CE compliance report, it will cost you around $4,000 US. Yes. That's
100,000 pesos, tama po ba?
Yes, that's for the complete testing.
Thank you, sir. And we have a question from Arceli Baguio. I am a fourth-year student from the Technological University of the Philippines with the course of Engineering Technology and Electronics. Do you accept OJT trainees right now? Because I am looking for companies to apply aligned with my course, and if yes, I am willing to submit requirements and may refer other students. So maybe from both sides, if you may answer po.
Yes, generally, for AMCen, we are under the Metals Industry Research and Development Center. So we normally accept on-the-job trainees. And you just have to connect with our industrial training section. No? And there'll be some requirements that will be needed. So like there'll be, I think, an endorsement from the university where you come from, and the number of hours that you will undergo the OJT training. We also encourage OJT in AMCen, but it would be better if you have the research topic or research project that you would like to do in AMCen, and our staff can support you on that. But of course, we have to consider also right now the current situation, pandemic situation that we have. But yes, under normal condition, we accept OJTs in EPDC and particularly AMCen.
How about for EPDC?
For EPDC, yes, of course, we do accept OJTs. But once we go through with this pandemic, we can now really accept them on the job training. Okay. But right now, because we're on the pandemic, no, we cannot. Maybe next year. Hopefully.
And so that about wraps it up for our Q&A session. A reminder for our participants to fill out the evaluation form on the Zoom. So thank you for that. And to finish, to wrap up this Kapihan, we have again, thank you, Sir Fred thank you again for our speakers from EPD and AMCen, Sir Ryan, Sir Jules, Sir Joseph, and Sir Fred. To our guest speakers, Sir Jude Sasing and Sir June Petizalan, thank you. To our sponsors, Miss Gail and Ayala Land Holding Corps. And special thanks to STII for the assistance in technical support and broadcasting. And for our closing remarks, let us again please welcome Sir Fred P. Liza.
Okay. A pleasant morning to all. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Electronics Products Development Center, or EPDC, and the Advanced Manufacturing Center, or AMCen, are here to offer you electronics-related product development services. We are here to help turn your ideas into reality. The EPDC and the AMCen seek to make science, technology, and innovation work to our stakeholders' advantage. Working to your advantage means we want to help the people gain optimum socio-economic benefits from science, technology, and innovation. When it comes to talks about the economy, the manufacturing sector continues to be a favorite topic as it is one of the economy's major drivers. A component of the manufacturing sector is the electronics industry that continues to support our economy for many years now. It is a solid cornerstone of the Philippine manufacturing sector and has remained a dependable economic driver despite the pandemic. In the news recently, we hear that COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila continue to drop. It appears that the government's efforts, coupled with the cooperation of the private sector and the general public, are paying off. Although NCR remains at risk for the virus, we are seeing a decline in the reproduction number and the positivity rate. We have high hopes that this trend continues so that eventually we will be close to the previous normal as possible. Almost all of us refer to this as the new normal. So how do we picture the new normal? Since last year, we have become so used to being under community quarantine, and in the NCR, we are now implementing the alert level strategy. The safe protocols are here to stay, So what will vary is the level of severity or strictness. Even in these community quarantines or alert levels, we are looking at more business activities, face-to-face interactions, demand for various products, more enterprises on the rise, and more skills sets that match the demands of the digital economy in the new normal. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses closed because of the pandemic. The electronics industry, however, remained active. At the rate things are going, the industry will be there as the country advances to embrace Industry 4.0. So the EPDC and AMCen have always been here at your service. As we heard from the testimonials of Engineer Sasing and Engineer Petisanan, students, inventors, budding entrepreneurs, MSMEs, like Orthopedic International and FAME, we encourage you to avail of our services. With the services of the EPDC and the AMCen, there is no doubt that product development will no longer be as challenging as it used to be. As this episode of the pandemic continues to unfold, a lot of things remain uncertain. In contrast to all the uncertainties we face, science, technology, and innovation continue to be the dependable game changers that teach us how to thrive and be resilient. Allow the DOST, through the EPDC and the AMCen, to be part of your product development efforts. Allow us to offer science and technology-based interventions and ensure that we can turn your ideas into tangible objects that will be of great value to the market that you intend to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Fred, for the closing remarks. Thank you again to everyone here. Also, if you would like to inquire about EPDC and AMCen services, you may choose to contact us through the details shown on the screen. And please contact us, and we would love to hear from you soon. Again, thank you to STII for the support in the technical assistance and broadcasting and the coverage pa. And to all participants watching in Zoom and on Facebook Live, again, I am your host, Keith Joseph Dizon, and have a great day. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all soon.
Accelerating innovation, pushing industry competitiveness, and elevating higher value-added activities and technologies are the driving forces behind the Electronics Product Development Center. The Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, is a core component in the Electronic Products Inclusive Innovation Center, or the EPIIC, which is an initiative intended to create opportunities and inclusivity through job creation and enterprise development. The facility was meant to upgrade the electronics value chain in the Philippines and envisioned to push the country from just being an assembler to becoming a designer, manufacturer, and marketer of our own electronic products. Product design and prototyping is usually outsourced to other countries due to the lack of local facilities. With the establishment of the EPDC, products can now be locally designed. It would then be faster to produce and create prototypes of electronic products, such as PCBs, resulting to a faster turnaround in production. The facility also fosters building local capability in design and prototyping through trainings and mentorship activities. True to its words of uplifting the value chain of the electronics industry in the country, the EPDC proudly offers you new testing services: product safety testing and immunity testing. With these new testing services, the EPDC aims to continue to strengthen the local electronics and semiconductor industry and put it in the global value chain map. In addition to this, the EPDC also prides itself of finally acquiring the ISO accreditation to the EMC testing service. With the ISO accreditation, EPDC is now recognized as a globally competent testing laboratory that is technically proficient and able to produce precise and accurate test and calibration data. A vast portion of the electronics industry sector will greatly benefit from these developments. These include electronics companies and other members of the supply chain, academic and other training institutions, engineering associations, government institutions, small and medium enterprises, venture capitalists, original equipment manufacturers, resellers, and independent designers. With these new developments in EPDC, the local electronics industry of the Philippines can be pushed towards global competitiveness. All these are made possible with the cooperation of various sectors in society. The Electronic Industries Association of the Philippines Incorporated represents the sector and advocates its needs, ensuring industry-led inputs are well considered in government-led efforts. The government sector is spearheaded by the Department of Science and Technology. With the setup of the EPDC facility, the DOST has laid the groundwork for strengthened science and technology investment to more industry-facing activities. The Department of Trade and Industry identified the Information and Communications Technology as one of its industry clusters. The DTI's role is crucial in creating a conducive and enabling environment for growth and in developing competitive and innovative small and medium enterprises that have access to market and finance. The EPDC under EPIIC aims to become a game changer that catalyzes productivity and global competitiveness of the local electronics industry. The EPDC will help further boost the country's efforts toward upgrading our electronics industry to become world-class companies producing world-class products. The DOST and DTI are committed to ensuring that the goals of EPIIC will succeed, to enhance the growth of the Philippine electronics industry and attract more talents and experts towards the country's economic and social development and its collective prosperity.